I'm going to start us off, and I want to start us off in my best attempt at a universal prayer, okay? A universal sort of setting of intention. So I'm going to ask you all to close your eyes and breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now imagine, if you will, a great light appearing before you, the great creator of the universe, Father Love, or whatever name that you use. We recognize the one nature of love. And we are thankful today to be gathered with all these other people. We're thankful for the earth. We're thankful for the humanity. We're thankful for all the many, many gifts, small, large, that we experience. We're thankful as we gather together tonight. We're thankful for the great United States celebrating 250 years. We're thankful for all the men and women who died, who sacrificed all over the globe to bring us here from all over the world collected together in the United States. Thank you for making us the most loved generation on the earth. We thank you for pride. We thank you that so many people came to this earth and came to this country so that we could eventually free women equal to men, free all races, and free the sexually shamed of the earth. We're so thankful for the love that we have for one another. And we're so thankful for science. We're sorry that so many often don't believe in love because we've treated each other so bad. But thank you that science teaches us so much. Thank you for all the many creations we have made here on earth to make our life better. And we're thankful for artificial intelligence. We pray today together that we might use this creation for good, for the good of one another. Please guide us that we might choose to love one another more and better than ever before because of this great gift. We say these things in your name and in your nature. All right. Well, welcome so much to AI for Good. This is a nonpartisan, non-religious group of humans coming together with the highest of intentions on a day that we celebrate our pride. And today we celebrate our pride in who we are as human beings, in our highest selves, in, let's say, our divine intelligence, so that we can meet artificial intelligence to do what is amazing and best for one another. My name is Dr. Helmut Love, and I come to you today. I am the executive director of the Gailey Impact, which is a nonprofit dedicated to the elevation of humans through personal and financial development. And this is a part of our work today and why you're here. So I have three things I want to share with you today. I'm going to want to share with you what AI for Good Georgia is. Secondly, why it's important, what it promises, why it's exciting, and then how to get involved with it. And then we have several incredible speakers for you, people that have been gathered together who all have this same wonderful intention to use AI for good, for the good of humanity, for the good of one another, and for the good of our future generations that we want to see get to experience the beauty of all that we can create on the earth. So there's many of these wonderful people that are going to be here to speak with you. Some of them are not here today for various reasons. And one of them I want to share with you is my good friend, Frederick Taylor. Frederick Taylor is an Emmy Award-winning filmmaker here in Atlanta. And although we differ on many perspectives, we agree on many things, and particularly in the aspect of AI. I have a quote from him that he shared. Artificial intelligence is the greatest equalizer in American society since the Constitution. AI provides life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. justice for all. So he could not be here because he's filming today, but we thank him for his words. And what I want to encourage us to think about is that AI can offer us all of those things if we lead it with the intention that it will. And so our humanity, our intention as we lead AI is extremely important as we think about using AI for good here in Georgia. It can improve human services. It can secure Georgia's economic future, and it can increase government trust if we, the creators, use it to do so. The question really is not whether AI will change Georgia, but whether we will lead the change to serve the people. So I'm just looking here at the website. I don't have some illustrious presentation planned, but I did want to emphasize a few things about this organization and what our purpose is. Our mission truly is to build a coalition of leaders, technologists, businesses, nonprofits, and community leaders that champion a statewide infrastructure, a statewide approach to preserve Georgia's values to serve the good of the people. And the reason just that statement, Georgia's values and the good of the people, what people don't know is how incredibly important AI is going to be to shaping and changing the world around us. And it's very important that we think about the values we want to preserve as we embark on the use of this technology. This can promote social flourishing, expand economic prosperity, and advance government integrity without compromising individual freedom. That will be achieved if we have great leaders, great thinkers from every discipline joining together. And that's what our mission is, and that is our intention with this organization. So why? Why do all that, right? I feel like when you are a wise person, and many of us are, let's be honest, we've been here a few years, it means a lot of things. It means that there is great possibility, and the website has many other possibilities, but I had a few here to share with you. I had the pleasure of working on an AI application to deliver cognitive behavioral therapy to individuals. Imagine what the world would look like if you had a mental health coach in your hand. If you were someone experiencing challenges, whether you were in prison, whether you were homeless, whether you were just a kid at school, and had some way to get support, and then later have a social worker or a parent or someone else help coach you through that. Imagine what it will be like when we have education that's available to work with you one-on-one, to go with your teacher who will teach you things you can only learn from a human, things like compassion and trust and togetherness, but then having a premium educator who knows how you learn to teach you, to ensure that you're financially literate, to ensure that you're literate. What will that world look like when social workers and educators have those tools with them? I want to be part of that world. Do you want to be part of that world? Right? Raise your hand. Do you want to be part? Yeah, I want to be part of that world, right? What if we can? I have bolstering election integrity because we're in Georgia and people doubt the government. But there are many other places that we doubt the government. There are places that we doubt the government regarding the way that we're spending funds, the way that taxes are collected, right? The way that things run and operate. What if we were sure of every system inside of our government? Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't it be great to know that every dollar we're giving is going to what it's intended for? That's going to be possible with AI. And I had the example here because one of my friends who is speaking with us today, Frederick, has this concept of AI, a different Frederick than the filmmaker, but a wonderful one nonetheless, around just AI robotics and cybersecurity helping to make our port a global leading authority. That's just one example of so many across the state that can be empowered by AI. So I could give you many, many different examples, but what you realize is that if you have the highest level of integrity for the people and you truly, truly want to deliver the best of all worlds, you can do that. Now, I have one other concept that I wanted to share. I had the pleasure of helping and supporting a grant application who is looking at delivering grants. What will the world look like when you have mental health coaching and premium education available for people who find themselves in a bad place economically? What will it look like when we can use AI to help deliver direct to the citizen grants? to help them start their business. When we can look and see their receipts and who's been coming in to help, which clients they have, and really help them along the path to creating the job that they desire and dream of. It's incredible what we can do if we have the right intentions. We can build a never before experienced solutions here in Georgia, like a single Georgia AI solution, right? To answer any question across the state. Wouldn't that be amazing? And this would all be built by Georgians for Georgians. And that's the part that's beautiful about this. Now, there is a whole technology side to this initiative that I'm going to let Nalima speak to. But what I want to emphasize is that this is as much about getting a team of people together and then laying out a plan. Okay, because the thing is that we can build an infrastructure that's sovereign to Georgia, an infrastructure that truly enables the people to build with the people, for the people, and then reward the people for sharing their knowledge. That is the technical component behind this vision. So I have several people, and I know we have an agenda, but I'm going to go to the agenda as we are. That's what I had to say. It's a very exciting thing to do, and I have two things down there at the bottom here around things that you can do to keep it simple tonight. One is that you can get collaborative news. We will be creating teams of individuals and help get people engaged with this movement and help people kind of really contribute. Wouldn't you love to contribute to something that's bigger than you for the good of all? So there's a way to do that. And the second thing I'm asking people to do today is to look at investing in AI for good. This is a nonprofit. We work together with Open High, another nonprofit. And so we are asking for people to donate towards making sure that Georgia uses AI for good. And with that, I am going to introduce you to some of the incredible speakers, one by one. And each of these speakers is really going to speak to why and what is important in their view for you to know about what they bring to the table and about why this initiative is so impactful. And so our first speaker today is Cassia Hansen. She's on the Global Council of Responsible AI. And she comes to us today. She's usually on the West Coast, but she's on the East Coast. Cassia, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. Hello, AI for Good Georgia. Happy to be on the East Coast this weekend. And we do also have a couple of our ambassadors that are in Georgia, so I'm really happy about that. But we wanted to come and join and just support the cause, right? We're all in this AI journey together. I'm representing the Global Council for Responsible AI. I'm the president of the USA chapter. We are an independent international group focused on responsible, ethical, and trustworthy AI. We scale roughly 77 countries and have over 1,500 plus members that are bringing governments, industry, academia, civil society into one conversation about responsible AI. But global reach matters, right? So we may be talking about Georgia today, but the global reach matters, right? When we're all connected, AI doesn't respect borders, right? Regulation is moving very, very fast and at different speeds. And our council is connecting existing frameworks rather than adding new rules. We are building a framework called GRACE, which was launched at Davos this year. We call it Humanity's Operating System for AI. It stands for governance, responsibility, accountability, integrity, compliance, and ethics. And it helps us move responsible AI from value statement to operational standards and something you can build in as a foundation. So think about leadership roles or accountability or auditability measures that when you're developing and deploying AI. We also operate with national chapters across those 77 countries and have a global ambassador network of very, very impressive professionals across AI, cybersecurity, and technology. And our leaders are adapting those global principles to their own regions and applying them, but also giving feedback on the learnings across all of our ambassadors. Um, One of the things that I think is important is ethics is not an afterthought. It's not something that's bolted on at the end of the development cycle for AI. I've spent my career in Silicon Valley, and one thing I've learned is it's really important to build in a strong foundation, whatever technology you're building. And AI is no different. It has to be built in from the start. So you have to build that governance, the rules, and think about the ethics of the technology that you're building. And so you have to ask the questions of who's affected, whose voices are at the table, what happens when the system gets it wrong, and should we or how do we? Governance is really how do we, right? So we do need to be working together. I want to close with this thought. Responsible AI and AI for good are the same conversations. Governance is not slowing down innovation. That's not the intention, but it really helps innovation go further because people trust it enough to rely on it. And so, with that, I'll hand it back to you, Helmut. Thank you so much for inviting us. Really appreciate it, and wishing all the best for AI for Good in Georgia. And of course, our ambassadors in Georgia are ready to support and work with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I want to emphasize for those who are joining in the group that working closely with this organization is important to AI for Good Georgia. We do not need to learn alone. There are those that are learning across the globe, and I think it's really important to tether ourselves to knowledge that is outside of just Georgia for an initiative like this. So thank you so
And
much.
and if I forgot to mention, if you want to look us up, feel free at gcrai.ai.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now, I want to bring up next on the stage, I want to bring up Nalima Ramajarju. Is that right? I think.
I'll try.
Um,
No worries.
Okay, great. And she is with Open High, and I just want to introduce that she is the leader of a group with a nonprofit focused on building an open infrastructure and is the technical partner for the AI for Good Georgia. And again, just in terms of facilitating the technical conversation, we thank you for your leadership, Nalima, and welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you, Helma. It's really good to be here and with a great group of people. Um, I'm actually kind of expanding a little bit on what Cassia was talking about with the foundation. So I think that there's different types of foundational elements, and we're really here talking about the technical foundations as well. So again, good to be here. I'm Neelima Ramaraju with Open High. That's HI for human intelligence. So we are, and although we may be global, we are currently actually a Georgia-based nonprofit. So I'm coming to you here from Atlanta, and we are built for the intelligence age. So our mission is to give everyone the freedom to create a better tomorrow. And that's in the context of AI. So I kind of resonated with Frederick's quote at the beginning where he said, it's the great equalizer. And we believe that too, but we do believe that there needs to be some technology foundation, technical infrastructure and foundation that can level the playing field for folks that have fantastic ideas to bring them to life in a specific manner. So and when we come to AI, most of the conversation is around the models, the apps, the myriad of use cases that are phenomenal. I know we have plenty in Georgia, plenty of people with great ideas. And what doesn't get talked about enough, and sometimes can be the elephant in the room, is just the infrastructure underneath. What does this look like? We can talk about other elements that need to be present, but how does that physically come to be? And that's really what Open High is building, that infrastructure layer, not just technology, but data standards and thought leadership, essentially a toolkit that makes AI for good a possibility. And keeping at the very core of it security, scalability, and sustainability, right? So we're building an open source framework that'll use serverless technology built on very well-defined existing data standards that'll be AI native. So what does all of that mean? It means that the entities that are building with this, and in this case, AI for Good Georgia, will have full ownership of your code, of your technical infrastructure, full ownership of your data and how it's used. a common infrastructure layer with ongoing contributions. Again, this is open source and we have a community that's building this that you own, you can trust, you can audit, and you have control over. And the biggest thing here is no vendor lock-in, no kind of kind of that taking that risk away, especially when we talk about social good and serving our populations. That is extremely important. Um, I'll say Open High, we currently operate as a consortium of Georgia-based tech companies, and we have 8 key sectors that we've identified: health, agriculture, energy, transportation, environment, communication, technology, and entertainment. Right? And that's a mouthful, but these aren't just abstract. These are actually the fabric of everyday life for Georgians. So we are, we're glad our paths have merged, and we're honored to help build, the backbone for AI for Good Georgia. Yeah. Thanks, Helmut.
Thanks so much, Nalima. I really, really appreciate you. All right. So now we have someone who really has been someone who stood out to me as a person who's brought together many thought leaders in our state, across the state, and that is Mr. James Stovall. James created the Georgia AI Alliance. He is a strategist as well, and I'd love for him to speak about AI for Good Georgia and how he views these things.
Thanks so much, Dr. Love. I appreciate it. It's great to be here and talk with everybody, and thanks for taking time on your Sunday night to attend. I wanted to share a little bit. I'm based here. I'm a native Georgian, a sixth generation Georgian, and about a year and a half ago created this group called Georgia AI Alliance, basically with the intent of saying, how can we help Georgians and Georgia organizations adopt AI faster than the rest of the world? The reason why is we think that the economy is changing rapidly and there's going to be a lot of different challenges and opportunities. And so if we can help Georgians to do that, that's going to create more opportunities for Georgians for the future. That was the idea. And so we started with building a calendar, pulling together events. I'll put some, after I get done speaking, I'll put some links into the calendar to our georgiaai.org website that has a calendar of events. Like I think we had 15 events in the month of May of aggregating all the events that different groups were being a part of. We host a monthly networking lunch in Sandy Springs. I know of several. I've seen you there and hope to see you again. Our next one is July 31st in Sandy Springs, and send that information to you. And so basically, that's the intent, is to help that. Pragmatically, some of the things that we're working on now, there's an NSF bid coming out, and I can put that in the chat as well. That's basically called AI Ready America. And so the intent is that there's going to give up to the first 10 states $3 million, $1 million a year for 3 years to help states to build an AI hub that would be centralizing the resources and the universities and technical colleges and all the opportunities for individuals to help kind of do that. That aligns very well with the Georgia AI Alliance. So I'm working with a consortium from Georgia Tech, Technology Association of Georgia, Fulton County, and others, and that's due in about 3 weeks. So we're working on that at the moment. Anyways, there's a lot more that I could say, but I'll be short because I know there's many people wanting to talk. I'd love to chat more, and we'll put some links that you can stay in touch and come to one of our events in the future. But thanks again for the time, and thanks everyone for your commitment to helping Georgia to be the best it can be with AI.
Thank you, James. And we're really excited to see how the consortium does in that award. And hopefully efforts like ours and others in the state, as some of the other speakers are doing incredible things, put us in a good position to receive those rewards in that investment at the national level. So thank you. Next up, we have Moon De Chidori. She is from Georgia Institute of Technology. She is an incredible thinker about AI and mental health and many other elements of community. And I have to just say that she is inspirational for really thinking about the fact that everyone needs to be at the table and everyone represented as we usher in something like this in the state of Georgia. Moon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Love, and thank you for bringing together such a great group of people who all believe that AI can be a force for positive change. So, as Helmut mentioned, I'm a professor at Georgia Tech and I conduct research. For the past 15 years, my research has been at the intersection of AI, mental health, and human behavior. Through this work, I have asked a fairly simple question, I think, but difficult to answer. And that is, how can AI help people to not just be productive, which happens to be the conversation at the moment, but I'm motivated by thinking about how can AI help us live healthier, more connected, and more meaningful lives. So, when we think about AI for good, as is the mission of this initiative, we often think about solving big societal problems. And I would argue that one of the biggest challenges, as Helmut rightly noted at the beginning, is mental health. It also happens to be one of those places where AI does offer a great deal of opportunities. So, if you think about mental health and step back for a moment without the AI, we would recognize that mental health is not just a healthcare issue, right? It affects education, our workforce, our families, our civic engagement, and the resilience of our communities. And increasingly, AI is now becoming a part of that story, right? So many people, millions actually, are already turning to AI systems because they want help, companionship, they want emotional support, and they believe that AI can help them navigate difficult moments in their life. And that means that we are dealing with a technology that is quite different from what we have seen so far. And that is, AI is not just a technology, but becoming a part of our social ecosystems. So, our question is not whether AI will influence our well being, it already is. The real question is whether we will intentionally design AI that can help us strengthen our communities rather than weaken them. So, in my own research, we have worked with clinicians, public health experts, and community organizations, and we have hoped to understand where are the promises and where are the risks of AI. And we have seen that AI can help us identify people who are struggling, and we can do that earlier. AI can help us expand access to support, and it can assist clinicians as well, who are facing overwhelming demand. But we have also seen that AI can make mistakes. It can reinforce inequities. It can create the illusion of connection when it pulls people apart, further away from other human relationships. So for me, AI for good means keeping humans in the lead, and I'm especially excited that this conversation is happening in Georgia. We have such an extraordinary opportunity here to bring some world-class universities, healthcare systems, the government, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, many of whom are represented here in this room. And I believe that if we get this right, AI's greatest contribution wouldn't just be a bunch of very smart machines. It will be healthier people, stronger communities, and a more connected Georgia. Thank you very much, Dr. Love.
Oh my gosh, I could not agree more. Thank you, Moon Moon. It's so wonderful that you meet people that are so dedicated and have been for such a long time, right? When I first met AI, it was 2018, working at a $250 million business at IBM, and I saw how powerful this could be, and it's amazing to see all these different talents come together for such a good cause. Now I have someone who is a delight. Halima Mohammed is a city councilwoman from Portersdale, and she, at a very organic and real way, has found use and already incredible value with AI as a public servant. And I thought it would be great for her to come on and share with her experience and how an initiative like this resonates for her. Welcome to the stage, Halima.
Thank you so much for having me. I wear many hats, but I am in my city council mode today. And speaking of the 250th year of celebrating our great nation, we had our fireworks yesterday here in Porterdale, so it's pretty exciting. So when pe most people hear AI, they think about the future. I think about how it can solve problems for Porterdale today. So over the past year, I have been meeting with AI leaders, becoming a part of their community, technology companies, former execs, and economic development experts to learn how we can bring responsible innovation to our city. For those of you that don't know, I did run on economic development, and that's how I won the election. So far, I've already been putting AI to work. I use AI to analyze our city budget, helping identify more than over $300,000 in potential funds that could be reallocated or better utilized. With that fact finding, I literally found through a former finance director that we actually have $1.7 million sitting in our bank accounts, and we're actively trying to figure out how to transfer those funds over to the budget so we can put them to good use. That gave me the information I needed to ask better questions. Um, just using AI, right? I also use AI while researching the history of Donna Watts Pace. It helped me organize and analyze historical deeds, maps, and records that strengthen our research and challenge the developer's claim about the property's history. We have a developer that wants to build over 300 houses on her land. And at a planning and zoning meeting that I attended and gave this information, that was denied. However, we still have to go before the Board of Commissioners where I will be doing it all over again, educating everyone. And use AI to fact find all this information. Outside of City Hall, I used an AI to build a data-driven digital campaign for a city council candidate. We strategized the messaging, voter outreach, campaign content. I even created his image because he's a little rough around the edges using AI, and we ended up winning the election. I authored a bill called the Responsible AI Adoption and Worker Protection Act. You could find it at my website, which is my name, halimamuhammad.com, because I believe government should lead in using AI responsibly with transparency, accountability, and human oversights. So looking ahead, I'm exploring AI solutions that can improve resident services, automate routine administrative work, expand self-service options such as city kiosks, and help attract technology companies and new economic opportunities to Porterdale. My goal is simple: to ensure Porterdale isn't waiting for the future, we're helping to shape it. AI is here. The question isn't whether cities will use it. The question is whether we'll use it wisely, responsibly, and ways that could create real value for other residents. And I also want to help other small cities do the same. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Halima. I think it's so refreshing to see AI already working and really working with government. Thank you so much.
You're
Next
welcome.
up, absolutely. Next up, we have Frederick Gregory. He is with a company called Kumenya, but he is the gentleman I referred to earlier who is the Morehouse graduate who has done a lot of great work in the government and also in research, security, and robotics. So I will let Mr. Frederick Gregory speak. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be with you. Um, Great group of people. A few of you, I follow your work, and particularly Moon Moon. I'm really excited to be here in your presence. But I'm Fred Gregory. So I'm a native of Savannah, Georgia. And I was actually adopted and raised by my great-grandparents. And my great-grandfather was a longshoreman right here in the port of Savannah. And as a kid, I thought I was going to do that with my life. But my interest in science and medicine took me on a different path. So I found my way from a life in academia to civilian Army service. And so for quite a while, I worked at the Army Research Lab, which allowed me to travel and fund research across the globe, collaborate with foreign partners like NATO, and work with scientists and engineers from quite a few nations, and then serving as the Army's lead for what we call humans in complex systems. And I give you this context because when my government service ended this past year, and being back in Savannah after so many years, I realized something fundamental in what I learned from those longshoremen I knew back in the day, that the dignity of work and the values of community really matter. And even though we're now participating in the fourth industrial revolution and living through likely what's the most significant technological era of human history, technology really won't instantly change any of the things that make us human. So we have a choice. And I believe the steps we're taking to realize AI for good, it's really part of the deliberate design choice that decides whether human intelligence and artificial intelligence are able to work together to amplify human performance and accelerate innovation and productivity. And the science that we worked on in the Army was really clear. When you understand how people think, how they make decisions, and what drives our motivations and performance, that you can design technology that exploits human psychology, or you can enhance human capability. And we're here in AI for Good, thinking about how do we take the path of directing the future of AI so that people are elevated and strengthened by it. But over a decade of research and leadership of humans in complex systems has taught me that human AI and human autonomy partnership doesn't happen automatically. And so you really need deliberate decisions about how we want to live and work in our future. And as Helmut mentioned, I took an example from the Port of Savannah with the strike that happened in 2024. That when we had those competing pressures from workers concerned about livelihoods, port operators worried about pressures of competing globally in communities depending on these economics, you don't solve that by choosing sides. You solve it by designing intentional structures. And that strike wasn't a failure. It was a signal that we're missing these design principles of transparency and partnership structures that are needed. And that's where we step in with this human-centered approach. And I'm building in the past year community enterprise to partner with others to translate that science into real solutions. So looking forward to working with you all. Excited to be here.
Thank you, Frederick. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the sensitivity you have to the balance that must be struck, and the importance of the vision as we direct. I think what people often don't get is that this really is going to become what we make it, right? And the choices we make up front are so critical and important. And that's why Georgia really needs to stand up and decide who we are and direct this for the good of the people, because I think Georgia has a very unique place in history. We have a very unique place in this country. And so with that, I am excited to introduce Sri Pradeep. Sri Pradeep does run Pulsar Ventures. He also has a great group that he organizes in Atlanta as well. He's one of the early organizers and thought leaders, and really helps curate creativity amongst entrepreneurs and technologists who want to use AI to make the world better. So welcome, Sri.
Thank you very much. And if you don't mind, let me just share my screen. I have a couple of quick things to show. All right. So a lot of my activities, like some of you, is hyper local. I do a lot of my stuff in Alpharetta, Georgia, which is where I'm based. But really, the premise behind what I'm doing is people by and large have to use AI, but think of it as everybody needs to use, but does not really come with the instruction manual. So how do you get around it? What do you do? And I think it is particularly important if you're a business professional. If you're someone in IT, you can sort of go figure out, do a lot of things, tinker around and do it. But if you're a business professional, think you're a manager, you work in finance, you're an HR, you're an analyst, you're a consultant, or a lot of times you're a small business owner. So how do you then try to learn AI? So that is sort of like, it's not like I went to go figure out how to teach people in the community. I chanced upon it. And so there are three things I observed. So one of them is you could go online. People can watch YouTube videos and read articles on LinkedIn and figure out a way to do it. Another way is you could go to school. I mean, you could go to GSU, you could go to Georgia Tech. You could do a lot of things like that if you're a professional to do it. But the third way I found is that you could also learn through the community. So that's really what I anchored on. And the first thing that I do is to run workshops, which I'll talk about. The second thing is the meetups, and I just go walk up to people and talk like YouTube. I just go talk to people. So the first thing that I've done is I've run about 15 such classes so far. I've trained in partnership with my partner Swati Jain. We've trained over 200 people. We run an 8-hour immersive session. It's running well. I mean, it's completely through word of mouth, and we're actually partnering with Georgia Tech this fall to start teaching the alumni of Georgia Tech, not so much the students, but people that are already professionals and how to go about it. And we do this in both the hybrid format online. So that is one such thing that I'm doing. And again, it was not like I wanted to reach out and start training people. It just sort of came about. The second thing I chanced upon is this AI builders meetup. I took a trip out to the West Coast. I saw what people were doing in San Francisco. And what I really organize is now a session that Helmut actually presented also is I give everybody 10 minutes each. I could care less about what you're building, but I want you to share how you're building it in the hope that other people can learn. So that's what we've been doing, and it is really well attended, way out of more than what I would have anticipated. I've had like 50 to 70 people every single time, and we do it every second Tuesday of the month. And the third thing that I do is I really literally walk up to people and then say, hey, tell me what your background is, and tell me, like, even like the 8 or 9 of us on the call or 15 of us, everybody has a slightly different background. I just walk up with my camera and then say, tell me about yourself and tell me how you're using AI, and in the hopes that other people can learn from it. So I've probably done like 50 videos so far. So it's all been very interesting conversation. One such conversation, Dr. Love, I was going to give it to you as a gift today, but I edited all of our conversations that you and I, sat and spoke about. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm having fun doing this. I For a living I build apps. I'm an advisor to a few CTOs, CIOs around town, but I just have a lot of fun talking with about AI in the community. So that's what I do. So thanks for having me here, and it's good to hear from all of you and how you're thinking. But I'm really thinking hyper local, Alpharetta, Georgia. I don't need to go think about anything else. I mean, so which then sort of morphs into Georgia, and I don't have to think about the United States or the world. I mean, it's a lot of you thinking like that. I mean, I'm only focused on the community that I live in.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sri. And I think it's great. People like you, James, and also Mark, as people who are gathering people together. This is an important part of the education layer and the understanding so that Georgians can help Georgians. So I know that there are going to be plenty of people who are excited about using what they're learning in these groups to help others in the state achieve their best outcomes. So thank you. Now, with that, as we flip to education, we've got two great speakers. The first is Paige Bradbury from the Bradbury Group. She's a delightful person who's very, very motivated around how people learn, and specifically how people learn AI. And so I welcome to the stage, Paige.
Thank you so much. And it's such a pleasure to be with all of you. So as Helmut said, I am the CEO of the Bradbury Group, where we focus on training for leaders, for teams, and for communities. And we start at the very basics with AI literacy and fluency for all. I am from an era when people and adults just kind of expected you to know things without being taught. It's like a brain dump. And I think it gave me a lot of anxiety around asking a question and never wanting to feel stupid because I didn't want to get, pushback or anything. And so that has really driven the kind of training that we create at the Bradbury Group, which is a psychologically safe environment for people to learn, to put them at ease, because people cannot learn if they feel afraid, threatened, or pressured. And so we are passionate about creating an environment where people can ask the stupid questions and where there is no jargon, and we learn and we fail forward. And a lot of times we learn from our mistakes, especially with AI, because it's so massive and it's so layered. People learn best in community. With all of the cohorts and trainings and one-on-ones that we have been doing, we have found that one-on-ones are great, but then take it to community because it's more caught than it is taught. And I have a vision for breaking down the silos across our state to upskill an army of trainers that's going to go throughout the state of Georgia and to train people right where they are, to on-ramp people to even know what questions to ask about AI. Because sometimes people just don't even know where to start, and we want to give them the skills to do that. In fact, all of the training that we do is completely aligned with the Department of Labor's framework for upskilling the U.S. workforce. My son recently moved. I live in Gwinnett County, and he moved to the other side to Henry County. And he came home this week and is like, "Mom, you have no idea how many amenities we have here. We really have it good in Gwinnett." And I had another friend in Lamar County. She's like, "They're just putting in data centers everywhere, and there's the farmlands disappearing." And I think what we in the city, in the metro, we need to be aware of what's happening outside of where we are. We need to open our eyes, and we need to reach out, and we need to be very aware of what is happening. I would also say that my faith is really driving a lot of being involved in this space with the disruptions that are coming. And Americans, we're all tied to our job. What do we do? There's going to be a lot of disruption, and I think the faith-based community has an amazing opportunity here too to step in to help people understand what their true worth is and what their purpose in life is. So thank you so much for just being a part of AI for Good, and the Bradbury Group is on board to partner and to see just an amazing opportunity that's before us come to life for Georgians.
Beautiful. Thank you, Paige. And I love that you always bring in faith, which is so important. We opened with a word of prayer, and I think it's really important to realize that our highest intention, right, and having pride as Georgians of being a place, the heart of MLK, right, the love of every human. It's so important that we use AI for good. And I love also your call to being aware of the environmental impact that we are having. It's like, if it's going to have a cost, are we willing to make sure that cost is for good, for the good of our neighbors, for the good of everyone? And that's so important as we're navigating this space. Now, not our last, but certainly not least speaker is the wonderful Mr. Mark Mickelson. Mark actually started the AI Collective Georgia group and has since become a more senior member in the AI Collective. And we're so glad to have you, Mark. Let's hear what you have to say about AI for Good and your perspective.
Well, AI for Good, I think, fits right in with what AI Collective does. I was drawn to AI Collective last year, and I found them online like everything, and discovered they were really an interesting group to me. They were a grassroots organization, which is kind of different from an association. It was really started by 10 engineers, AI engineers, working at leading AI companies in San Francisco. They knew what AI was capable of doing. So these young engineers kind of questioned what would happen with humans in a world dominated by AI. What could they do about it to protect humans? So they kept meeting and talking and asking, what will our purpose be? And so they decided to find a way to help humans, primarily by arranging in-person meetings at scale to talk and learn about all aspects of AI. So their why became a mission really to represent not only humans in AI, but protect human flourishing and actively educate and upskill communities around the world. So the goal, long-term goal, is to be a voice for advocacy with governments and AI companies globally. We're approaching 1 million members globally. We'll be there this month in July, well, almost this month. And in Georgia, just since last year, we've had 90 meetings, and we're approaching 5,000 members in Georgia. It'll be up quite a bit, and so we're actually building out chapters right now across the state, and we're up to about 12 of them currently. So Georgia is very important to us as well as you because, well, I was born here and I live here, number one. But number two, I think Georgia does have a lot to offer, and it's a challenge because we have different economic centers, right? So what happens in Savannah is nothing like what happens in Atlanta. They have to feed each other and they have to work together. So it's reaching out into these rural communities to make sure that we can help people learn how to use AI no matter where they are, and that nobody should be left behind when it comes to AI education. So we reach out and meet AI professionals where they are at every skill level as well. And I think that's really important to remember. There are people who are very advanced and there are people who are just starting. So being able to make sure that you're being inclusive of everyone, and that's across socioeconomic, it's across education levels, it's across geographies, and that's a real challenge for everybody on this call.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. I really, really appreciate you, and I appreciate what you had to say about your desire to include everyone, and ensure that you are able to influence groups, whether government or corporate. And I think that's a big part of why, ultimately, why AI for Good Georgia is so important to me at my heart. I can only tell you that. Well, effectively, I think it was in 2018 when I worked at IBM Watson and we were innovating AI in healthcare. It's when I first really understood that mental health and the mind and AI were going to be interacting. And that's such a sensitive area. It's a sensitive area as we raise children. Any parent knows that. It's a sensitive area as we deal with adults. And so that's why it's so important that we realize that AI is something to be directed. And it's really, really important that we all come together and understand that AI is going to merge every area of our society. We are going to see economics together with social, together with values, together with government. It is going to be very interesting to watch the tapestry of each country, each state, and how they adopt this tool and how they direct this tool. And I just wanted to end the conversation with the why Georgia question. Why Georgia? Why does it matter? Why is it urgent for Georgia to have a perspective? I think Georgia represents an incredibly important balanced place in the United States of America. I think we're a place that has seen great healing. I think we're a place that is extremely diverse. I think we're a place that still balances spiritual with economic, with social, with political. And I think it's really important that we use AI in Georgia for the best of the people. So as we leave here, I want to encourage you to be urgent about what we're doing in Georgia. This is our time, meaning each of us is here in this life game, right, at this time in history. That's an incredible, wonderful thing. 250-year birthday. Amazing. We're here for it. We're here to represent the love of each of our ancestors that brought us here. How are we going to close our eyes in death and say, this is how I lived my life? This is how I approached the innovation in my era. This is what I did for the good of other human beings while I was here. This is something that for me very much stirs what I'm about. It stirs why this matters. It stirs why getting rallied together for the people in this time matters. And so I thank each of you for bringing your passions, your talents, your beautiful different perspectives to the table. I look forward to working with you in future think tanks as we think through how to approach this, as we make sure that it is a Georgia project that incorporates people that aren't just in government and aren't just in corporate, so we can make sure that it truly serves the people. And with that, I will say you can always support A, sharing AI for Good Georgia with others, B, join the mailing list, and C, if you can invest or you know those who can, please do, so that we can organize ourselves and be very influential in ensuring that AI serves the good of the people of Georgia. Thank you so much and have a great evening. Cheers.